Hello, this is BBD, and I am about to record a daily event in Block Constructed, and I'm playing a rug deck, which is red, blue, green, and it's kind of a mid-range deck. It plays a lot of removal, and the creatures are all kind of good value mid-range mana cost creatures. So the idea behind the deck is basically to leverage Strangleroot Geist and Wolfear Avenger as good, like aggressive and defensive threats, and that'll buy you time to hit like Huntmasters, Wolfear Silverhearts, Tamiyo, which kind of take over the game, and then there's just a lot of removal spells to, I guess, control your opponent's game plan as well. So I'm playing 24 land, 4 Abundant Growth, and 3 Borderland Ranger. So this is just to help ensure that I hit all my colors. My mana base is fairly green heavy. I have mostly forest. I only have one mountain, one island, but I have Evolving Wilds to get those. And then I have a lot of forest, and Hinterland Harbor also produces green. This is to help ensure that I can cast like Abundant Growth, Strangleroot Geist, Wolfear Avenger, and Borderland Ranger like early in the game while they're still really good. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the creatures I'm playing. Strangleroot Geist is very good on both offense and defense. Like the haste makes him like a good offensive threat, and he's like very good with cards like Kessig Wolfrun and Wolfear Silverheart because of the Undying. And then the Undying ability also makes him like a very good defensive card because if your opponent has a really strong aggressive start, you can just block twice with him and like hopefully buy yourself time for some of the bigger cards. Wolfear Avenger is kind of the same way. He has pretty good stats, 3 with flash. So he's like decent on offense, but he's also very good on defense because you can block whatever your opponent has and regenerate him. So these guys both play like a very strong role on both offense and defense. Borderland Ranger is not irrelevant. Like even though he's just a 2/2, his body is often relevant when it comes to things like Kessig Wolfrun again, or bonding with Wolfear Silverheart, or even just like if you have a bonfire that clears your opponent's board, being able to attack for an extra 2 is relevant. Huntmasters is just an amazing card. Does a lot of things. It plays offense well and it plays defense well. It can like help control your opponent's board by like flipping over into Ravager of the Fells and then killing one of their creatures. This is very good against a lot of the aggressive decks because they can't really attack past a 4/4 very well, and you get to destroy one of their guys like in addition. So Tamiyo is a card. I have not played much with Tamiyo, but part of the reason I wanted to play this deck is because I wanted to play Tamiyo. So I like her abilities a lot, but I don't know for sure if she's really that good. And I guess we'll find out. Dungeon Geist I like a lot because it is a 3/3 flyer, so it's fairly aggressive. There's not a lot of flying creatures in the format, so it usually can go unblocked. But in addition, like it just shuts your opponent's best creature down too. So it does a lot of work. And I have like a third one in the sideboard for like aggressive matchups where it shines the best. So I'm going to talk a little bit about burn now. Pillar of Flame is very good because of cards like Strangleroot Geist or Geralf's Messenger. Just being able to exile them is like very valuable, and it also kills Huntmaster and like Borderland Ranger and things like that. Brimstone Volley is kind of just all-purpose. Like it can kill a creature, or you can send it at your opponent's face. Like you can kill planeswalkers with it, or like it does a lot of damage with the Morbid effect. So it's a good way to finish out a game sometimes. Devil's Play is kind of the same way. Like you can kill a creature, or you can point it at your opponent's face, and it's just good having an effect like this in your deck somewhere. Some decks like will maybe prevent you, like they will lock up the board in such a way that like you're never going to hit with a creature again. Like they just have so much removal or something, and having access to this in your deck is just a great way to end the game. Especially with like Desolate Lighthouse, lets you loot through your deck and find like nice one-ofs like Devil's Play. Blasphemous Act is basically there's a lot of decks that are like this in the metagame that are basically just like mid-range decks that play Wolfear Silverheart and Huntmaster and Borderland Ranger. Blasphemous Act's very good against those decks because it's hard to kill a Wolfear Silverheart when it's bonded with something that's just too big. But Blasphemous Act kind of lets you do that. And also with Strangleroot Geist and Wolfear Avenger, you can often Blasphemous Act and keep a couple guys around afterwards anyway. And then Bonfire, I always play 4 Bonfire in pretty much any red deck I play because I think this card is just the best card in the format. When you Miracle a Bonfire, you almost always win the game. So I think playing less than 4 of this card is a ridiculous idea because it's just so powerful. It just ends the game, and you want to Miracle this almost every single game, so you want to play as many as you can to maximize the chance of that. And even just hard casting it without the Miracle is usually fine. Like, people are playing, Borderland Ranger into Huntmaster of the Fells, and if you just play a Bonfire for 2 on turn 5, that's still very good. So, this card is great. It's a little bit better when you're playing mana creatures like Avacyn's Pilgrim or Scorned Villager, but it's still fine without them. So I'll talk a little bit about the sideboard I have here. 3 Dissipates. These are just for control decks mostly. There's a few. There's like an Angel of Glory's Rise Reanimator deck, and then there's a Miracle Control deck. And both of those decks are kind of tough matchups, so you want Dissipate to help beat them. Zealous Conscripts is mostly for the Jund deck. Jund deck looks a lot like this deck. It plays Borderland Ranger, Huntmaster, Wolfear Silverheart, but it also has Falconwrath Aristocrat, and Zealous Conscripts is the best answer to Aristocrat because you can target it with conscripts, and your opponent has to sacrifice it to itself in response, or else you can steal it and then sacrifice it yourself. So it's the best way to kill Aristocrat, and Aristocrat's otherwise pretty tough to kill because like Pillar of Flame and Brimstone Volley and Devil's Play and Bonfire don't kill it, and even Blasphemous Act, none of these kill it very well because it can get indestructibility so easily. So Zealous Conscripts is a great answer to that. Tree is for the aggressive white-red aggro decks. They usually bring you very low on life, but then you stabilize the board and kind of take over the game after that with cards like Huntmaster. So Tree is just a great way to make sure that you don't die in the meantime. It just gains you a lot of life, actually, because you can block with it repeatedly. So often Tree will end up gaining like 20 life in a game, which is pretty relevant. Garruk Relentless this used to be the best card in the block, but is now not the case because basically Bonfire has made it a lot worse. When they can Bonfire your board and then kill your Garruk, it's not as good. And then also cards like Falconwrath Aristocrat make it not quite as good either. So I'm not even main decking any copies of it anymore, but it is amazing in the Zombies matchup because if you can kill one of their creatures and flip it over to the backside and then like live to untap with it, they can't beat you just +1ing it every turn, and even like the -1 to get Huntmaster is just backbreaking against them because they have a very hard time beating Huntmaster. So Garruk is just the best card against that deck. So that I want 3 in the sideboard for that matchup mostly. Devil's Play is just another one for like decks where you want to kill a lot of small creatures, or control decks when you want just another way to deal a lot of damage to them. Memory's Journey is just for a couple of decks like Reanimator that deal with their graveyard. It's not a highly popular deck. I'm only playing 1 copy because of that, but I think it's worth having. And then Dungeon Geist is just just for aggressive matchups. You want to bring in the last Dungeon Geist. So this is the deck. I've played it a couple times, but not a whole lot, and so I'm hoping that it does well.